Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is the last of our series of webinars for Secrets of a Successful Retirement. And today's topic is retirement planning trends for people under 60. My name is Tara Kendrick, and I'm with Bill Witt, and we are part of Senior Resource Center. What we do as Senior Resource Center is we help people with comprehensive retirement planning, looking out 30 years, trying to make sure that we can make a wise plan so people don't outlive their money. We also do tax planning to help people pay less tax. We do long-term care planning, and that can include helping people qualify for federal and VA benefits. And then we also do estate planning, just helping people look at their estate, make sure that they have their legal documents in order, and just setting themselves up for success now and in the future. All right, so I'm going to have Bill step in, and he is going to start the show.
Thank you, Tara. Let me add my welcome to Tara's. And we've got an exciting announcement at the end of today's webinar, so stick around to the end. We are completing a 13-week educational process, and all of these webinars are available in a recorded form up on our website, srctexas.com. So if you didn't have a chance to listen to some of the previous ones, you can go there and review the topics and listen to the ones that are of interest to you. I always start each webinar with a disclaimer, and I hate disclaimers, but everybody's situation is truly unique. And we're going to have a case study today, and actual case studies can vary. Also, historical performance is no guarantee of future performance because we never know what the markets are going to do. And finally, Tara and I are not securities licensed. So if you have questions regarding risk oriented securities, stocks, or bonds, you want to refer those questions to a licensed securities professional. So let's talk about a challenge that I think not just people under 60, everyone faces. And that is that most retirement planning today is focused around pre-tax accounts. Most of us, while we're working, are contributing to an IRA or a 401k or a 403b or a 457 plan. These are all pre-tax accounts, and they have consequences down the road when we start taking money out. The another alternative are Roth IRAs, but many companies don't offer them as an option for preparing for retirement, and other people are prevented from putting money into a Roth IRA because they're over the income limits, and so they can't take advantage of some of the Roth opportunities. Well, today we're going to talk about ways to get around some of those legal restrictions. Uh, and as I said earlier, the upfront IRA tax deductions that we get for putting money into a 401k or an IRA, they may lead to major tax obligations in the future, and we want to avoid those. Another challenge we face, and this is not for us, but it's for our beneficiaries, our heirs. Uh, Several years ago, President Trump signed a bill called the Secure Act, and it eliminated something that actually was very, very beneficial. In the past, if you inherited an IRA, you could spread distributions from that IRA out over your lifetime. It was called a lifetime stretch. And that allowed the funds in an inherited IRA to compound and grow. Well, today, with the Secure Act, now all inherited IRA funds, in most cases, not all, but in most cases, the funds have to be withdrawn within a 10-year period. Why is this a problem? Because if you die in your 75 or 80 and your kids are in their 50s, they may be forced to take money out of an IRA in their peak earning years, and the only real beneficiary becomes Uncle Sam because it puts you into a higher tax bracket. We're going to look for ways around this future tax time bomb. And I guess the other aspect of the challenge that everyone faces, but particularly younger people, today we're in a period of incredibly low tax rates. The Trump tax plan that was put in a number of years ago is scheduled to sunset in 2025. And at the same time, most of us know that our nation is building a massive amount of national debt. And so my question to a lot of the people that we talk with is, how do you think tax rates may be changed in the future? And I think the answer is tax rates probably will go up to service the national debt. And so we're in a window right now where we can start to take advantage of some of the opportunities. Excuse me. Uh, and really, the bottom line on this entire webinar is we want to look for ways to create tax free income, because if you have enough tax free income, you will have a safe and secure retirement. So, today's topics, I want to talk about 3 different strategies that Tara and I use every day with the families we work with. The first one is showing people ways to get tax free income from an IRA. And a lot of times people say to me, Bill, wait a second, everything in an IRA is taxable, isn't it? Well, I'm going to show you a strategy today to convert a taxable IRA distribution into a tax free distribution. The second strategy, since many of us are building up those IRAs and 401ks, I want to talk about tax efficient Roth conversions. So even if your income is above the limit where you're not able to contribute to a Roth, I'm going to show you ways today to tax efficiently convert IRA and 401k funds over into a Roth IRA form that grows tax free and all the distributions are tax free. And then the third strategy is using a product that Tara and I use with younger clients to create future tax free retirement income. So we've got 3 different topics we're going to address, and then we'll have time for your questions. So let's start out with IRAs. Most of us know that we contribute pre-tax money to an IRA, but when we turn age 72, the government finally says, enough is enough. We want you to start taking required minimum distributions. And some folks don't need the money, but at age 72, we are forced to start taking distributions from our IRAs. Next year, there's going to be a new table that's used for calculating RMDs, and the starting percentage is 3.6% of whatever the value of your IRA or 401k is on January 1st. But that percentage goes up as we age. And so over time, we're taking more and more out of our IRA, which is creating more and more tax obligation. So here's a simple strategy that many of our clients are using in order to eventually create tax-free income from their IRAs. I've got 2 IRAs here, the one on the left and the one on the right, same amounts of money. You'll notice that I've divided the one on the right into 2 different components. Could be 50-50, could be 60-40. There's no magic to this. The strategy works no matter what the division is. So what we do is we take a portion of the IRA funds on the right and we take advantage of a product that we use in retirement planning. Tara and I use tax deferred annuities as one of the tools we use, and modern annuities have a feature that can be very effective in creating tax free income. So let me explain. On the left side, what happens when the owner of an IRA turns 72? They have to start taking money out. And what most people do is they do what I call annual dipping. They start taking out the appropriate percentage and out of their IRA. Well, what about on the right side? Well, modern annuities have a feature. It's called an income rider. And it's a feature that can be turned on whenever you want to generate a lifetime stream of income. And if you're married, this lifetime stream of income can cover both spouses. So it doesn't matter who lives longer, the lifetime stream of income continues. Well, on the left side, we've got annual dipping. We're satisfying the RMD requirement, required distributions. On the right side, we use that lifetime income stream to satisfy the RMD requirement. And that income stream is one that's going to increase over time. So let's take a look. Let's fast forward and see what's happening to our IRA values. Left side, we see that the annual dipping is increasing because the percentage is growing year by year, and generally the value of the IRA is declining. Well, the same thing's happening on the right side with the IRA annuity. That income stream, if the market is up, it increases annually. Uh, if the market's down this year, it would stay the same value as it was the prior year. So what's happening? We're gradually draining the IRA annuity. Well, let's fast forward a little bit further, and eventually that lifetime income stream is going to deplete the IRA annuity. But remember, I said it's lifetime income. Tara and I find that on many of the products we work with, it takes about 15 years to drain the annuity. At that point, you've received back everything you put in, plus all the earnings over that 15-year period, and now you're getting free money, literally free money. So if you have longevity in your future and you plan to live into your mid or late 80s or into your 90s, which many of us will, you're literally getting free money. But taking money out of an IRA is always taxable. So there's one more step in this process, and we do it just before the IRA annuity zeroes out. If I were to try to convert all of that IRA annuity to a Roth early, I'd pay a huge tax wallop up front. So I allow the income rider to pay out money. It's all taxable. And when my account value is down to a few $1,000s, what do we do with the IRA annuity? We convert it to a Roth. And voila, now the future income stream that's coming out is not only free money because they've paid out everything we put in, but it's tax free money. And this is one of the strategies Tara and I have found very effective. It's like giving yourself a raise 15 years into the future. Uh, your income stream continues to increase, but more importantly, it becomes tax-free income, which means you get to keep more of what is being paid to you. So this is one of the strategies we use with many of our clients to generate tax-free income. And I want to say something about an increasing income stream. Many of the people that are coming to us right now are talking to me about inflation. They seem to think that prices at the food store, prices at Lowe's and Home Depot, everything is going up. And I think we're into a process or a period of inflation in our country, and we want income streams that continue to increase because it's wonderful to get a lifetime income stream, but if it doesn't increase, your buying power is eroded over time. And so the products that we use and these income riders that we turn on are designed to generate increasing income over a lifetime. Okay, the second strategy I want to talk about. So many people have all this money buttoned up in an IRA or 401k. And now they go, I'm now starting to see the potential tax consequence of all of my money. Is there any way to gradually convert my IRA funds over to a Roth? And this is where we take advantage of the tax tables. On the screen, I've got the tax tables for 2021. And what this shows us is that various amounts of income are taxed at different rates. You'll notice that for a single person, the first $9,950 of annual income is taxed at a low 10% rate. For married couples, it's $19,900. If we have taxable income above that, we move into the 12% tax bracket, still very, very low. Well, if you look at this chart, there are two interesting breakpoints. People whose income is around the 12% limit or the 24% limit have some opportunities to do tax efficient Roth conversions. And so let's take a look at this. Let's use the 12% bracket first. And down at the bottom of the page, I've added in something. with the Trump tax rates, the standard deduction that people can deduct from their gross income was increased dramatically. For couples, it's now $25,100. So let's do some math here. Let's say we're a couple, and let's say they have $106,000 of taxable gross income. Well, I add the 81,000, which is the limit for the 12% tax bracket, to the standard deduction. And what that tells me is if I'm earning 106,000 or less as a married couple, I'm in that low 12% tax bracket. What about higher income folks? Let's say I'm married and our income is 354,000 or less. Well, the 329 is the threshold for the 24% bracket. We don't want to go above that. Now we're giving almost a third of everything we earn to Uncle Sam. And once again, I add in the standard deduction. And so for single people, if you earn less than 177,475, the highest tax you're paying on any of your income is 24%. If you're married and your income is below 354, the highest rate you're paying is 24%. So what is this? Where's this leading? Well, if we're below one of those thresholds, there is an opportunity to begin to convert IRA dollars to Roth IRA dollars and create future tax-free growth on the amount we convert. And so when we have clients that come in, and let's say it's a couple and their combined income is under 106,000, we're looking for how much can we convert to stay in that low 12% tax bracket. For higher income people, if they're below 354,000, we can convert at the 24% rate. And the goal is to gradually migrate IRA funds, 401k funds over into Roth IRA funds. Those funds grow tax free and when we take money out, it's tax free. So we're trying to get to Roth, and this is a strategy for doing that. Now, to maximize the impact of doing these Roth conversions, we want to pay the tax obligation out of other after tax funds that we have. And we have a spreadsheet that Tara and I developed that shows the impact of doing this. Let's say I've got a $100,000 IRA and I want to convert it over to Roth. And let's say I'm in a 20% tax bracket. Well, I'd end up paying $20,000 to the government. I'd have $80,000 of Roth money left over. But what if instead, when I do my Roth conversion, I pay that tax obligation out of another after tax account? Now I have $100,000 of Roth money that is going to work for me and growing tax free. So to use this tax efficient Roth conversion strategy, the goal is we want to pay the tax obligation out of other after tax funds. And another piece of this puzzle is we want to begin converting IRA dollars as long as tax rates remain low. If we anticipate the tax rates are going to go up, starting to move IRA and 401k funds over to Roth today is a smarter strategy. Tara and I use some very powerful software. It's called Retirement Analyzer, and it helps our clients see where they will be financially 3 years or 30 years into the future. And when we do these Roth conversions, we can look at various amounts and see how it impacts our clients and how it improves their financial outcome 10, 20, or 30 years into the future. So if you have questions on this, this is an area that we can provide some guidance. And the last topic I want to talk about today is another way to create tax-free retirement income. And so sometimes I ask our clients, why don't we sit together and define the perfect investment vehicle to fund your retirement? And we start talking about what would be in the perfect investment vehicle. Well, first, obviously we want to be able to contribute to it without government imposed income limits. Many people can't contribute to a Roth today because their income is too high. And so we want to be able to contribute independent of what our income is. The investment that we set up, we want it to grow tax deferred. So we don't want to pay taxes annually on it like we do with brokerage accounts, or CDs. We want the money to compound and grow. We want it to increase nicely, but we want it to increase safely. And so we have products where the upside potential in a given year is, let's say, 8.25%, but there's no downside. What do I mean by that? Well, we're investing money in a product where they peg the growth against the stock market. Market's up 4%, you get 4. Market's up 6, you get 6. Market's up 10, there's a cap. You can earn 8.25%. But what happens when the market takes a substantial decline? It goes down 10 or 20%. We don't participate in those downward corrections. And I don't know if you've been tracking the market, but the markets have done very well the last 10 or 11 years. But I also know from history that every so often we have major corrections. Many people remember 2000, that was kind of painful. And then 2008 and 9, that was another painful experience. Well, we don't want our money to contract. So, anyway, we want to find a safe investment that's going to grow for us. Most importantly, we want all withdrawals we take out in the future to be tax free. That's pretty nice. I don't like giving some what I don't have to Uncle Sam. We don't want rules forcing distributions. Just remember we talked earlier about turning 72 and we're forced to take money out of our IRA or 401k. Well, I want a product that grows, but where I get to choose when I take the distributions, not Uncle Sam. And finally, if we die and there's still money inside this account, we want all of it to go tax free to our beneficiaries, to our kids, to our heirs. So does this sound like a kind of a pretty nice uh, solution for planning ahead for retirement? It grows nicely, it avoids corrections, grows tax deferred, and all future withdrawals, both to you or to your kids, if they inherit it, are tax free. So the question is, what is this perfect investment vehicle? And I'll tell you where it fits. Uh, the first two strategies I talked about today, about getting tax-free money from an IRA or doing tax-efficient Roth conversions, people of any age can take advantage of those. But this third strategy is geared for younger people. And what is the strategy? It's something that's been around for a long, long time. It's life insurance. And, when I first heard about this, I kind of thought, well, wait a second, life insurance, I'm not interested in that. But what I found as I started to investigate life insurance is an interesting product. It comes with some very, very powerful tax efficient strategies. It grows tax deferred, and future withdrawals from a policy are tax free. So, how does this work? Well, we set up a life insurance policy. We contribute excess cash into the policy. There are limits, but we build up excess cash putting it in. The funds that are inside there grow tax deferred. If you have an unfortunate early demise, yes, there is a death benefit, so your spouse or your heirs benefit, but that's not why we're getting the policy. We're getting it to fund future retirement income. Life insurance policies offer significant upside growth with no downside risk. Remember that 8.25% number? We have products that have caps where you can earn up to 8.25% in a good year, but nothing, no losses in a down year. And so those are the kind of products we're looking at. As I mentioned, all withdrawals from a policy, if we do it right, are tax free. And if we die and there's still money in the policy, all of that money, all of that value goes to our heirs tax free as well. Let's compare life insurance to another option that we're all have available to us, and that's a 401k. So people come in and they're younger and they go, should I be funding my 401k? Are there other options? How do these two options compare? And so let me share with you a case study. We had a gentleman, a client named Tom, who came to see us. Tom's married, he's 45, and he's in good health. He's earning about $100,000 a year in his salary. He and his wife both work. They're in the 22% tax bracket today. But when we did some projections, we assume Tom will be in the 12% tax bracket when he's retired. And we looked at two different choices. Tom has a 401k option at work, and his employer is generous. They match up to 6% of his income annually into his 401k. Or the other option that we're going to investigate is life insurance. And Tom's goal is he and his wife want to retire at age 65. And their goal is maximum income in retirement. We did an earlier webinar several weeks ago on the power of income. It's a powerful story. Tara and I have found that people with more income in retirement have better financial outcomes and a lot more confidence that they won't outspend their money. They won't outlive it. So let's take a look at these two scenarios. The first scenario is Tom said, I can contribute $10,000 a year to a life insurance policy. I said, great. Now that's after tax money. So Tom's already paid taxes on it. He's 45. His goal is to retire at 65. So we have 20 years to retirement. 20 years times 10,000 a year. Tom is going to have contributed $200,000 into this life insurance policy. The policy is projected to grow at 6.71%. That includes an assumed 1% asset fee. Where do I come up with 6.71? Well, remember, this policy can grow up to 8.25% every year in good years, but it never participates in the downside corrections like 2000 or 2008. And so average earnings we project would be 6.71%. That's over a 25-year period. Tom's second option is contribute to his 401k. And in this case, since he's putting in pre-tax dollars, he can put in more. Whereas he has to use after-tax dollars to fund life insurance. With the 401k, he can put in pre-tax dollars. His case, he could put in $12,821 each year for 20 years. His company's matching 6% of his salary, which is $6,000 a year. So over that 20-year period, he's put in and his company's put in a total of $376,410. Now, because this money is invested, he has it in the market. I went back and looked at the 25-year average earnings of the stock market, and it averages in the 4% range. And I know when you're in the market that you have to pay some investment advisor a fee, and depending on the funds you're in, you may be paying an annual fee to have money managed. I'm assuming a 1% annual fee. So let's see how these two different strategies work. With the life insurance, when Tom turns 65, it has grown nicely, and he starts withdrawing $46,550 a year. And this is tax-free money to him because remember, the withdrawals from life insurance are tax-free. Over a 20-year period, from age 65 to age 85, he's received $931,200 of tax-free income. That's pretty nice. And the policy still has a death benefit of $231,000. So over that 20-year period, the total payout, his $200,000 investment has turned into a little over $1.1 million of outbound payout. That's pretty nice. Well, let's compare that to the 401k. With the 401k at age 65, Tom has to withdraw $52,136 a year of pre-tax money, because remember, everything in the 401k is pre-tax, to equal the $46,550 that he's getting from the life insurance policy. Unfortunately, at age 79, he zeroed out the 401k. His total after-tax income payout, $688,465. How do these two compare? Well, the difference is a whopping $473,000 of tax-free money. That's a big difference. Now, I'm not suggesting that people shouldn't make contributions to their 401k or an IRA. What I am suggesting is, since tax rates could go up in the future and maybe will, and since many of us may be withdrawing substantial amounts from 401ks or IRAs, we need tax diversification. And life insurance is one way to create a separate stream of income for retirement that's tax-free, that Uncle Sam can't take a piece of. So we talked about three strategies for tax-free income. One is convert a portion of your IRA or 401k into one of those annuities, generate income, and after 15 years, if you drain the account, we flip it to a Roth and go forward income is tax-free. Our second strategy we talked about was gradually doing tax-efficient Roth conversions. Tara and I do these every week. And the third strategy was introducing life insurance, not for so much for the death benefit, but as a vehicle for creating an additional source of tax-free income in retirement. These are three examples of strategies that Tara and I use to help people build a safe and secure retirement. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Tara. Tara, do we have any tax questions or tax-free income questions?
Yeah, so just a reminder, if you have a question, there's a talk bubble at the top of your screen. You just click on that and type in your question, and we're happy to answer anything you've got. So let's see what questions we have today. All right. Okay, first question is there an age limit for the life insurance option?
That's a good question. Uh, it fits best for younger people, and that's why we included it in this webinar and not in earlier webinars. Many of their clients that come to us are in their 60s or 70s. They're entering retirement. They want to do it safely and securely, and we help them. But when we have a client that comes in their 40s or 50s, we always introduce them to the life insurance option. And the reason it fits better for somebody that's younger is it gives the policy time to compound and grow, and the cost of the life insurance component, that death benefit component, is less for younger people. So this is, I wouldn't say there's a limit, but we generally, if you're over 60, we probably are not going to talk to you about life insurance.
Okay. Next question is, what do you charge for financial planning?
That's another good question. Tara and I are fee adverse. We don't like charging fees. Uh, and so our consultations are always free. Our webinars are always free. If people want us to build a 30-year retirement plan, there's some work involved in doing that, in building it, and in loading software into the retirement analyzer software. And so for that, we charge a one-time fee of $500. That covers building the baseline scenario. Once we've built that, then we have some interesting options. Sometimes people say, here's my plan, spending in retirement, and here's my income sources, here are my assets. How am I going to do? And when we run the software, it tells us if our client is potentially going to run out of money before they run out of time. And if that's the case, then we start investigating alternative scenarios, like working another year or two or several years. That can have a profound effect on your retirement assets. Uh, Doing creative Social Security claiming. We did a webinar earlier on timing issues can affect your lifetime payout from Social Security. And so we advise our clients on ways to do that to maximize Social Security. Some people have a McMansion, and at some point in the future, when the kids have left the nest, they want to downsize, and that may free up cash. Other clients have IRAs and they want to generate guaranteed income to help ensure that no matter what the market does or what interest rates do, that they have money to spend in retirement. So we create these alternative scenarios, and for that we charge a one-time fee of $500, and we invite our clients to come back annually or more often and review how are they progressing on their retirement path. And if we have to make adjustments, we do. So, Tara, any other questions?
Nope, I think that's it for today.
Well, then let me want to share with you what our plans are for the future. Tara and I have just concluded this 13-week webinar series, and we're starting to work on a new series that will be specifically focused on women. And there's some reasons for that. Women tend to outlive us guys, And in a marriage, usually the woman is the surviving spouse. If you visit nursing homes or assisted living centers today, you'll notice that the vast majority of people there are women. So women have some unique challenges that men maybe don't have. And so we're working on a webinar series that'll address the specific questions that our female clients often come to us with, that are worried, how will I fare if my husband passes away? What will be our go forward income? Will I be able to still live comfortably? How do I make sure I don't outlive my money? And so we have that coming up. And so stay tuned. Everyone that's listened to this and is part of our email broadcasts, we will make sure that you're made aware when we are getting ready to schedule and launch the webinar series for women. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Tara, you have anything else you want to add?
No, just know that I'll be sending you just an email like I always have at the end of our webinars that it'll include a recording of today's session so you can listen to it or pass it on. And again, if you haven't gotten a copy of our book, More Money for Retirement, I'll make sure to include that. All right, that's it. Have a wonderful week, and we look forward to seeing you all in the future.